and welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, October 24th. Now on our show today, we have Dr. Trin, and he has some amazing news to tell us about Alzheimer's research. There's some exciting things coming down the pike that he wants to share with us. And then we also have the Orange County Fire Authority, PIO, here to talk to us about fall prevention. So some really good stuff. Now, before we go into that, we're going to go ahead and give you our resources that we normally do. We have our COVID-19 resources where you can follow along with the governor's plans as well as get specific numbers. So to follow along with the governor's plans, you can go to covid19.ca.gov, and then to get all of the numbers per city, ochealthinfo.com, or you can call their hotline at 714-834-2000. And then, of course, you could always go to our website, lagunawoodsvillagealerts.com, where we update that on a regular basis. And then you can email us any concerns or questions to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Now, our weather is still holding at a nice, cool pattern. But before we do that, we're going to tell you if you plan on traveling, go to beaches, 6860, Mammoth, 5515, Big Bear, 6025, and Palm Springs, 8560. So it's getting chilly up there. Our weekend weather is mostly cloudy today with a high of 73. Tomorrow cooling to 69, 59, and then again cool on Monday, 69, 50. Now our sunrise this morning was 7:03, and our sunset will be at 6:06. Now Joel, thank you so much for sending this in. What a great Halloween tree. But I do know that you said it has now since disappeared. So where did it go? Anyway, thank you for sending that in, Joel. And if you have a great photo, something this week for Halloween would be lovely, or if you have a pet that you would like to share with us, email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. When we return, we will have Dr. Trin, so stay tuned.
Now there's a different way to buy a new Lexus. It's called CarDash, only available at southcountylexus.com. It's amazingly simple. Visit southcountylexus.com, select and reserve your new or pre-owned vehicle that comes with a 5-day love it or leave it guarantee. Apply for credit, calculate your payment, and even appraise your trade-in, all online. Once you arrive at the dealership, just pick up your car and drive home. Push a button, get a Lexus. South County Lexus, where different is amazing.
Welcome back. Today I'm joined by Dr. Trin, who is here on behalf of Irvine Clinical Research. And we're here to talk about some updates on Alzheimer's, as well as something very interesting that they're doing in clinical trials right now. Well, it's so nice to see you again. How are you?
Very good. Nice to see you as well.
And I hear you're staying busy, Zooms galore.
My third Zoom this morning. So multiple every day, and it's like I'm a Zoom expert without ever being trained, just because we were kind of pushed into Zoom.
Exactly. So, let's talk about some update here on Alzheimer's research. Is there some new information out there right now?
There's quite a bit of very exciting things in the horizon here. The first I can tell you is that we have a medication sitting at the laps of the FDA right now to be reviewed for possible approval next year. And this is exciting because, and I don't know what the outcome will be. I don't know if the FDA will approve this medication. All I do know is that it's been very long since the last medication was approved. I think it was 2003 with Namenda was the last original medication to be approved. So nothing since 2003 really. But if this medication gets approved next year, and I think the date that the FDA is going to decide is the end of March, is when their committee makes the decision. If it gets approved, it will be the first medication in the world that is designed to remove the Alzheimer's plaque that's in the brain.
Wow.
Mhm. We don't have anything designed for that.
Well, that's and what would that actually do if you remove the plaque? What does that do?
Well, if successful, and if we can act on the plaque early on before it causes significant damage to the brain, right? The theory is that the Alzheimer's plaque, what it does is that it builds up in the brain, and it interrupts the brain cells' ability to communicate and connect, and so the brain cells die over time.
Mm.
And so the belief is that if we can remove the plaque early on in the disease process, then we can change the course of Alzheimer's.
Wouldn't
Literally.
that be nice, man? That is amazing, and it's just a shame that it's taken so long.
Well, and again, we don't know if the FDA will approve it or not, but they will review the data. They accepted the data to be reviewed just 2 months ago, and the decision is going to be made at the end of March. It's very interesting and very exciting for those of us working in the field that we may be able to provide something and have something of hope for the many patients in our area who need that hope.
Have they been doing the trials here in the United States or abroad?
Globally, it's been done, and that medication actually sits in our office as well. We are part of this global network that have been conducting clinical trials on this specific medication,
Wow.
along with other locations throughout the United States. And
Oh, that
so
is
we just,
very exciting.
yeah,
So
crossing our fingers.
you won't have any knowledge of that until next March, right? Till it's approved.
End of March is when the FDA is going to decide and make a
Okay.
decision on the data.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, keep us up to date on that. That is really exciting news. Thank you for that. Now, the next thing
Definitely.
I think is so interesting, eating seaweed for brain health. Well, before we came on, we talked a little bit about seaweed, right? So I thought that you were talking about that green seaweed that I could get at Trader Joe's, but that's not the seaweed you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we did a session, Lisa, on gut health in the past,
Yeah.
and how the health of your gut is related and connected to the health of your brain,
Right.
right? And we've in the last few years drawn this connection between gut health and brain health, and so this is really interesting. So epidemiology studies have shown, and what it is, they look around the world at groups of patients, groups of people that were brain healthy. They didn't have a lot of Alzheimer's in their communities and where they live and things of that sort. And they found these groups of folks who in Asia, in Southeast Asia area, they lived and they didn't have a lot of Alzheimer's among these groups. And so the scientists were studying. They're like, what is it among you guys? What's the common factors in your nutrition, in your lifestyle that where you didn't get Alzheimer's? And it turned out that these groups of folks had a specific diet. And believe it or not, they ate a lot of seaweed. and and they're specifically, I think brown seaweed, I think was the type of seaweed. Now, I'm not recommending that we all, head out to Huntington Beach and, to grab seaweed to start munching on, and, definitely don't do that. I'm not doing it. But they found out that apparently in the seaweed, they were able to extract some compounds in this seaweed that they believed helped with brain health. Now, this has not been validated yet. This has not been proven yet. This is only in clinical trials. And but the neat thing is this, and this medication, this seaweed compound, is made into a pill so that you can take a pill as opposed to eating long strands of seaweed every day, right? And so this compound, the way it works is this: the seaweed compound improves the health of your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So it improves the biodiversity of the bacteria in your gut and the good bacteria and all that. And by improving the health of your gut, it indirectly improved the health of the brain. And this was shown in studies done in China, in studies done in Southeast Asia, where they tested this. And as a matter of fact, in China, it's now FDA approved uh, for the Chinese to take as a pill form. So we're looking at all that. We're looking at their data, and we are bringing these studies, these clinical trials, to the United States
Is that
to
is that some,
study.
is that something that would be considered much like a probiotic?
Yeah, you can see it as the probiotic, I guess, although it's very specific to this one compound
Okay,
that's in brown seaweed. But the whole idea is to improve your gut health.
gotcha.
And by improving gut health, you improve brain health. So it's very neat. We are bringing this study to Irvine Clinical Research over the next few months. It's not ready to launch yet. Anyone interested in that kind of stuff, they can contact me. But very neat. It's. I mean, I love nutrition. I love the fact that your food should be your medicine. And here we have a food product, right, or a semi-food product, part of seaweed, to improve health. So it's really along the lines of plant-based medicine.
Yeah, well, that is pretty bizarre. But we've got a lot of brown seaweed out there, but we can't be harvesting it too much because then the fish won't have anywhere to live.
Yeah, and I don't recommend harvesting it. I mean, the clinical trials need to be validated. I mean, it could show that it didn't work over here, right? It works over there. Who knows
Oh,
yet?
that's
It's
true.
early in the game, but it's new research coming out.
Oh,
Neat
well, that's
stuff.
really, again, number two, exciting. Good for you. You've got some exciting stuff. I like it. It's
Yes.
always good to talk with you with all this new stuff coming down the pike. Well, let's talk about some old stuff. COVID-19's been with us now for about 6 or 7 months. We've been talking to you and several others about what they've been doing, how they've been dealing with it. What are some things that you are looking forward to over the next few months, either with or without COVID?
Yes, yes. I would recommend that for those of you guys watching on TV here, that if you have not had the flu shot, this would be a good year to get that flu shot because there's going to be two viruses running around this flu season, and it's going to be very confusing. Folks will have flu-like symptoms, and they're not going to know if they have COVID or if they have the flu, and so very important to go out there and get that flu shot, guys. This is a especially important year for that. I took my family out to Walgreens, and we all got the flu shot a few weeks ago. I think if you bring your health card, if it's covered by your health plan, the flu shot is free at CVS and Walgreens, or you can go to your doctor's office. So you've heard about the second wave, right? That is expected, and I believe there's 20, 30 states now that are seeing a rise in COVID, and so it's time to just be extra careful out there. I know that we can't keep everything shut down forever. We need jobs. We need people working. Sometimes it's not really the economy versus COVID. Sometimes it's COVID versus mental health is what I'm seeing. The rate of depression of folks being stuck at home, the rate of anxiety and alcoholism and domestic violence and all that. So it's very important to balance all these other sides to being stuck at home. But at the same time, we are seeing a rise of coronavirus. Knock on wood, Orange County have been doing well over the last month or so. Our
Right.
numbers, I've been tracking the numbers almost every day because I'm in the hospital admitting patients in the ER.
Mhm.
And our numbers have been improving, but I'm starting to see a slight tick up, on the ICU beds and the admissions.
Exactly.
And so super important to get the message out on Channel 6 here to Laguna Woods folks here with that.
Yes, in fact, we've talked to a few different doctors now who are definitely touting that having the flu shot is definitely something you can do to help your body to build the immunities. Now, it doesn't necessarily ward off getting COVID-19 or coronavirus, but it does help your body have a much more sufficient immune system. So, if you do get the flu, it may not be as severe
as if you would have gotten it otherwise without, gotten it without the vaccine. So everything you do for your body is going to be quite helpful going forward.
That's right. Yeah, it's one thing to avoid and prevent COVID. It's another thing to optimize your immune system as much as you can if you were exposed to COVID. This is a two-pronged approach.
Exactly.
Yes, very important.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for the great news and the updates. We really appreciate it. And let's chat again soon so we can hear more about the seaweed.
All right, anytime. Take care and thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Trin.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. And we'll be right back after this.
For the sweaty faces and the hidden smiles, the foggy glasses and the sore ears, the determined looks and the muffled laughs. A simple piece of fabric makes a big statement. I care. Let's all do our part to slow the spread. Wear a mask. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov.
Today, we are marking the beginning of a new era as City of Hope opens its first location right here in Newport Beach.
We have 500 scientists and doctors who have dedicated their lives to beating cancer. So they use that intellectual capital to try to make sure every patient gets the best care possible that's known to science.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Captain Tang Nguyen, who is the Orange County Fire Authority PIO. Well, welcome. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a lot of information regarding falls, and I know that that is something that really affects a lot of our elderly. I mean, it literally can actually kill them because once they fall, they have a lot of trouble recovering. So let's talk a little bit about some prevention things that you guys are doing.
Yes, so we're trying to push out the information, and this is for actually when it comes to falls, it could be bad for anybody of any age group. But as we get older, our chances of recovering are a lot more difficult. And so that's what we're trying to push out this month is like, hey, these are some things that you can do to try to prevent these from happening. When it comes to medical problems or injuries or anything like that, regardless of age, if you can prevent it, you're way better off than trying to recover from it.
Exactly. Now, so let's talk about prevention. I mean, you have meals and medication and exercise is kind of a header. So let's kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, so we separated it into two categories, basic categories. One is the health side of it with meals and controlling your overall medical condition. Meals and medication are a big part of controlling blood pressure. And blood pressure, if you don't have that under control, whether it gets too low or too high, that increases your chances of having falls.
Well, exactly. In fact, just the other day, I was talking to somebody about blood pressure, and if it goes I guess I don't understand if it goes too high. If it goes too high, is it going to make you pass out just like if it goes too low?
Yeah, so low is definitely going to, because just think of it this way. If you don't have enough blood pressure, you're not going to get enough to your brain, which controls your balance and your alertness. And so that's a big part of it. And then the other side of it, if it goes too high, it causes neurological problems that, we may not be aware of that's underlying. And when it happens, sometimes, it's your last opportunity to know about it.
Wow. Okay. And then, so meals and exercise. I mean, I know exercise is good for anything, including falling, because you're strengthening yourself. But what about meals? What are you referring to there?
It's basically watching what you eat, because, if you're not watching what you eat and you're eating stuff that's going to add to your high blood pressure, that's part of the problem. So that's what we're telling people is that, watch what you eat, if you are supposed to be on medication, stay on it. I was a paramedic for many years, and one of the things that I found on, calls every so often is that people weren't compliant with their medication. So if they would have taken their medication, they would have been able to control it. But for one reason or another, they weren't compliant with it. And then that's how we found ourselves, meeting the paramedics.
Okay. And then what about keeping your home safe? What are some suggestions there?
We have a whole list of things that you can do, but three things that come to mind right away that I see as a cause is that first is that you got to remove tripping hazards. This goes for anybody and everybody. So make sure that you remove those tripping hazards. Take a look around your home. Some homes we go into, I see shoes piled up by the front door, and it doesn't matter what age you are. If you don't see those, you're going to trip, and sometimes you're not going to recover from that. Number two is make sure you're well lit in your home. You make sure you have lighting that's going to show you. And to me, I see different configurations, floor plans, and if you don't have enough lighting there, that's a scary prospect to try to cross over that, during the nighttime. And and it's even daytime too, because you have shade inside your home, and you may not see certain obstacles. And then the last one is if having assistance devices, whatever it is that you need, whether it be in the shower, I'm not there yet, but I step into the shower and it's slippery. That's scary, regardless of who you are.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, some soaps and things can leave a film on the base.
Absolutely.
You can
Yes.
fall down. Yeah, that is dangerous. So I know there's a few statistics that are out there. Maybe choose the top three that you think are the most imperative for us to know.
These are all statistics from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And it's staggering, some of these numbers that we see here. The first one right off the bat here is that 1 in 4 Americans aged 65 or over fall each year, right? And we were just discussing this yesterday with one of the crews, and they respond to falls. It's just and over the years, the causes for falls all related to the safety and health tips that I just mentioned. If you had those in place, you definitely reduce the chances. Now, the reality is sometimes, despite our best efforts, we're going to have a fall. Yeah. But the thing is, we want to try to reduce that. And so when you see these stats from the CDC of, how many falls we go on, it's pretty staggering. There's one here that says 30 million senior adults fall annually, resulting in 30,000 deaths. Wow. As I had mentioned, some of them there's nothing you can do about, and then some of them you could have. And that's the toughest part for me and the firefighters that I respond on calls with, is that we go out there and it's sad. And we feel for it too. We're just normal people just doing this job. And we definitely feel for it, especially when we think to ourselves, hey, this could have been avoided.
Well, exactly. And then one other one is the falls result in more than 2.8 million injuries treated in emergency departments annually. And that's including over 800,000 hospitalizations. That's a lot of people that are ending up in the hospital just from falling down.
Yes, absolutely. And and so the thing with falls is that you can have a fall, and depending on what you hit, how you land, will dictate what kind of injuries you're going to have. But on top of that is what kind of underlying medical problems you may have that would actually make that recovery very difficult. And so we're reaching out to people and just saying, hey, you know what, it's a partnership. We're there if you need us, but the thing is, you have to take an active role in making sure that you're healthy and you're safe.
Well, exactly. And then, of course, with the last 6 months, people have been kind of cooped up. So we have been trying to provide them, with as much online things that they can do for exercising, even though they're not outside, at least they're doing it inside, to try and keep that strength up to prevent them from falling.
Absolutely. And you know what? Nothing will ever truly replace the in-person meetings that we have, to go through these exercises. But the reality is we're in an unknown situation with COVID-19. And so we're all rolling with it. And, and Zoom or some sort of conferencing is probably the next best thing. And I can totally sympathize because I watch my son in the morning. His first class is band, and I'm watching him do jumping jacks in front of a computer screen, which kind of cracks me up. But you know what? He's doing his part too.
Right, exactly. And there's been a lot of things for the folks here. So great. Well, great information. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Great. Have a good day.
All right, you too. And we'll be right back after this.
United Mutual members, here's what you must do to ensure your votes count and are not disqualified due to unsigned ballots. With a black or dark pen, fill in the oval to the right of the candidate's name. Do not mark an X or a check mark or your vote may not count. Place your ballot in the secret ballot envelope and seal. Do not write on this envelope. Insert the secret ballot envelope into the pink postage paid return envelope addressed to United Laguna Woods Mutual and seal. On the back of the pink postage paid return envelope, provide your address and signature on the signature line and mail. Unsigned return envelopes will not be counted. Mail-in ballots must be received at the post office box by 11 a.m. on November 2nd. Hand-delivered ballots placed in the ballot box in front of the community center must be received by 5 p.m. on November 2nd. Call the Inspector of Elections at 855-240-0363 if your ballot is lost or damaged to have a new ballot mailed to you in 1 to 2 business days.
Our movie today is called Morning Glory, and it is a great, fun little flick, just sort of a pick-me-up for Saturday. And you can watch that today at 3 p.m. with subtitles and then 6 p.m. without subtitles. So that's Morning Glory, brought to you by Memorial Care. And one other thing we wanted to remind you about is the ballot drop-off. Of course, you can drop it off. The United ballot is due November 2nd by 5 p.m. and Thirds is also due November 2nd by 5 p.m. if you are personally dropping it off. Mail in, you want to make sure that it arrives by 11 a.m. November 2nd. And then one last thing, I want to talk to you about National Prescription Take Back Day, and that is today. It is going on from 10 in the morning till 2, and it'll be at the Laguna Woods City Hall. Our weather this weekend looks lovely, like I mentioned already. We are looking at a high today of 73, tomorrow 69, and then Monday 69 as well. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again here on Monday with an update from Jeff Parker. We also have an update from Elsie Addington from United. So have a great rest of your weekend and a great Saturday. We'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.